You say your life is hard? Now, imagine you wake up freezing in a muddy wooden hut, next to a pig. Your home smells like wet smoke and rotting waste. You've eaten nothing but moldy bread for days. You're hungry, sick, and you're not free. You're owned. This wasn't punishment, this was normal. If you were a serf in medieval England, and if you were there, you wouldn't survive a single day. This is Histoveins, where the past doesn't whisper, it screams. Today, we will experience life in the dark ages of England, and why you wouldn't last 24 hours. Life and social class. You've just been dropped into England, somewhere between the 8th and 11th centuries. But I've done you one favor. You can magically understand the language. Normally you'd hear Old English, and it would sound completely alien. Now at least you can speak to people, though what they'll say might terrify you. So who are you in this world? You're a serf. That's what nearly 85% of the population were. Not a free person, not a slave either. You're tied to the land, permanently. You can't leave. You can't say no. And you owe everything, labor, taxes, obedience, to your local lord. Your life, hard, your rights, none. Every day you rise with the sun and start work that barely ends. You spend your life doing brutal physical labor, plowing muddy fields with primitive wooden tools, sowing crops, feeding livestock, fixing thatched roofs. You work through cold, rain, and heat, with little rest. This relentless grind wears your body down fast. Injuries, common, rest, rare, and the pain, normal. This is your everyday from childhood to death. So what fuels all that labor? Not much. Your diet is simple and repetitive. Rough bread from barley or rye, watery porridge, a few beans or peas from your small garden, and meat? That's reserved for nobles, unless it's a feast day or a rare occasion. Don't even think about hunting. Royal forests are protected. Poach, and you'll be punished, sometimes violently. You survive on what you grow. But malnutrition, it's everywhere. Lack of vitamins, iron, and clean water makes you constantly vulnerable to illness. Now let's talk about water. Imagine drinking from a well that animals bathe in, or a stream that also serves as a toilet. That's your water source. And what comes with it? Typhoid, cholera, dysentery. There's no sewage system, no filtration, no concept of hygiene. Sickness spreads like wildfire. And when you get sick, there's no doctor, no pharmacy, no antibiotics, just herbs and prayers. Your home. Where do you sleep? Well, it's a one-room hut made of wood, straw, and mud. You share it with your entire family, and sometimes even the animals. There's no chimney, so the smoke from the cooking fire fills the room. No beds, just piles of straw. There's no warmth, no privacy, and definitely no space. You wake up coughing, you fall asleep to the sound of rats chewing. So, how long do you live like this? If you're born into this world, your odds are grim. 1 in 3 children die before the age of 5. If you survive past childhood, you might reach your 40s. Maybe your 50s, if you're very lucky. But the average, 30 to 35 years. And even those years are full of hunger, injury, and disease. You'd think starvation and war would be enough, but even your food can kill you. A fungus called ergot often grows on rye, the same grain you eat daily. If infected, it causes ergotism, known as St. Anthony's fire. You shake uncontrollably, hallucinate, your limbs burn, some rot and fall off. Entire villages have danced in madness and then dropped dead. It was terrifying, and totally misunderstood. Many thought it was punishment from God, or even a curse. If you're a woman, your burden is even heavier. You're confined to the home. Cooking, weaving, raising children. You help in the fields, care for livestock, and manage the household. And then, childbirth. With no medical care, giving birth often meant bleeding out alone. Infections were common, deaths were frequent. Even surviving childbirth meant returning to hard labor almost immediately. And socially? You were seen as subordinate, legally, spiritually, and economically. Step out of line and justice is brutal. Steal? Get branded with a hot iron. Repeat offense? Lose a limb. And if they're unsure of your guilt, there's trial by ordeal. Warfare. And if you're a man, there's always another threat: war. Local lords demand soldiers. You're forced to fight, usually with no training, just a spear or a pitchfork. You leave your family and your land behind. If you die, they starve. If you survive, you return to burned fields and nothing to eat. And when the Vikings come, no one is safe. So could you survive with all this? Could you have made it? No medicine, no toilets, no peace, only hunger, disease, and endless labor. And yet, people lived, they laughed, loved, had children, built communities. They found strength in a world designed to break them. Could you? Thanks for joining this journey into England's dark past. If this shook you, hit like. If you want more unfiltered history, subscribe, and let us know. Would you have survived the medieval world? This is Histoveins, where the past haunts the present.